Welcome, sports fans, to another weekly edition of the Pioneer Sports Preview. Once again, joined by Bob Allen here, and after looking at the boys' basketball action last week, let's shift our focus to the girls' action in the CSAA. First stretch of the season here, you've got Chippewa Hills and Morley Stanwood undefeated in the conference. Big Rapids inching its way up to 500 here with the win the other day, and you got a Reed City team that's lost a couple close games against some tough competition. So just looking at the first stretch of the season here, Bob, what are your thoughts on how the CSAA has kind of went these first few weeks?
I think it's kind of gone to plan here. I think we've all expected Morley and Chip to be kind of the front runners of the bunch. Big Rapids record's 500. They're better than that. You know, they played McBain. McBain traditionally is very good. You know, you take your lumps there. There's no shame there. So, you know, I think you're seeing what we kind of expected here in the early going.
So looking at the conference, like you said, Morley and Chip, they're two of the front runners, but are you a little bit surprised about the start Reed City's gotten off to? Obviously, they played some tough teams, but they've got a pretty good team, and they've lost a few close games. So what are your thoughts on the way the Coyotes have been playing this early on?
Reed City lost Emma Lockhart and Kaylee Hensel, who was responsible for, you know, pretty much like 3/4 of their scoring.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of time for people to find roles and, you know, who their scorer is going to be. So it's going to take a little bit of time. You know, they'll get back on track here, and I think they'll be okay.
Definitely. Yeah, like you said, I think right now a lot of the teams, especially, you know, a young team like Big Rapids, kind of feeling themselves out right now and figuring out what they're. But they're starting to learn, and I think, you know, it's going to come down to the end, but we shall see as the season continues on. Alrighty, now I'm joined by Mr. Brandon Fountain here, and as always, we'll take our look at the wonderful Detroit Lions. So this week, Lions had their season in their hands, dropped a tough one, the only way they could, to the Baltimore Ravens on Monday night. So I guess looking forward here, it's do or die the last 2 weeks of the season. This week, starting with the game against the New York Giants. So, I mean, just for me, I think it's going to be a game of who throws less interceptions. But Brandon, looking at this game, what are your thoughts on what the Lions are going to have to do to even keep any hope going forward?
I think right there, that's the end. There is no hope going forward. We know who this team is. They are who we know they are.
Yeah.
Okay, the season's pretty much squashed. Even if they go and win the next 2 games, the possibilities of them going to the playoffs is really slim, especially with Chicago playing as well as they have. As for their on-the-field problems, they're going to just continue, and hopefully at the end of the year they can reevaluate where they've come from and where they're going and where they want to be, because it's not where the fans want it to be.
Yeah, like you said, I think a lot of expectations coming into this season with the moves they made, you know, getting Reggie Bush specifically, and I think a lot of those have really backfired. Reggie Bush, good pickup for them, but fumbling problems, just they cannot get out of their own way. And like you said, I think the biggest thing here, even if they do make the playoffs, I really don't think Coach Jim Schwartz can stick around. If he does, by some miracle, I honestly think if you do not at least get rid of the offensive coordinating staff, you know, start with Scott Linehan, Mr. Ford is showing that he's still willing to put up with the same old Lions every year. So, like you said, we'll see what happens, but let's see if we got any predictions on this game. What do you think it's going to go down here this Sunday?
I think this Sunday they might squeak it out. I actually think they're going to squeak it out, give everybody else a little bit of hope, build them up again.
A little bit of false hope.
Just to tear them down.
That's Detroit.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, after they burned me these many weeks, I'm going to pick a Lions loss just to put the misery out of this season. But who knows? Eli Manning might throw 5 interceptions. Stafford might throw 3. We could only be so lucky. Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you for joining another weekly edition of our Pioneer Sports Preview. Don't forget to pick up an edition of Pioneer every day to see the local sporting news, and also check out BigRapidsNews.com.